Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Fiction Crypto, Jabril Muhammad. I'm back at it again with another video. We ain't recording with the meta glasses today, but we're definitely rocking them. You'll see some videos we uploaded pretty soon with our meta glasses and stuff like that. But today, we want to talk about something totally different. As I created a proposal for the XRP Ledger, I haven't given it a SLS number as it is just an idea right now. But we wanted to build on the core primitives that are already existing on top of the XRP Ledger, and we wanted to give certain functionalities to things like the AMM that aren't here yet. So in this proposal, we are highlighting what we call permissioned AMM. So it uses the same permission domain features like the domain ID. It uses the same type of standard and ledger native identity and verifying solutions with credentials. Nothing actually changes here. What is changing, what we're adding to it, is basically a more, I guess, customizable automated market making tool. So let's go through it. I know I've been up for 12 hours, so please excuse me if I'm chopping up my words or anything like that. Don't sound, I've been up for a long time. So I'll read through this executive summary and kind of show you all what we built. This is something I built last night. I stayed up for about 12 hours thinking about it, talking to ChatGPT extensively, asking it, and Claude, Claude Code and Codex, excuse me, because you need help when you're building these things, and it kind of helps with fact checking certain stuff, pulling in resources and data to allow you to create an idea, and not only just an idea that is actually rooted in truth somewhat, and architecturally sound. Now, we haven't built anything with this. We haven't went to any IDE or coding doc to create, the actual snippet that we possibly could on the testnet or the devnet to see how this would work and what the implications of this would be. But before I get to talking into all that stuff, let's just read through it. This is about 6 pages of the summary. If you want to just go ahead and look at this, it is on GitHub right now. So let me find the GitHub link, and I'll show you all that right now. Because some people want to just get straight to GitHub, and that's perfectly fine. As I pull this up for everybody to see, boom. You can follow Jabril Muhammad on GitHub. You'll see this guy right here, blue jean jacket, and this is public for everybody. Some other stuff that is public that I need to just clean up, but I haven't. So there you go. All right, this proposal defines permissioned AMM, optional extension to the XRP Ledger and its automated market makers. This is a permissioned AMM, which is still an ordinary AMM, but it includes native policy fields, which allows for accounts to perform certain actions, and just gives us more change. So nothing is really changing. The permission AMM uses permission domains and credentials instead of introducing separate identity systems. So this works the same way. My idea with this was basically using the primitive of the empty token list and saying, okay, well, in certain markets, you may not be able to trade or participate or do a deposit into an AMM because you're blocked. You're not on that list. But that only works for one side of this, unless someone has a sophisticated ecosystem where they have permission domain, permission decentralized exchange, and even then that doesn't avoid or give control to who can and who can't access a liquidity pool. And this is very important for regulated markets. This is very important for private institutions that need to create and control the leverage mechanisms that markets give you, that the XRP Ledger gives you with this AMM tool, with this liquidity pool feature and function. You can really do a lot of stuff, architecting, figuring out what is good for your company. If you know how to use the AMM, you can use it to drive, in our case, price discovery for real estate assets, tokenized real estate assets. It also helps as an index for each individual piece of real estate. I do believe that we get to a point where each piece of property is going to be its own financial market, and I believe that trying to figure out how to give each piece of property its own market and how to allow that to work is something that companies like myself, we're trying to figure out with Accountable and other companies in the real world asset market, especially companies focused on tokenized real estate. So this does not gate ordinary swaps or pathfinding. The existing LP withdrawals remain available, so liquidity is not trapped. This is literally just a couple of things bolted on top of what we already have, which is why this is so amazing to me, and it's such a simple thing that can really allow for permission controls at a native level. I think this is something that everybody needs. So why is this not just Permissioned DEX? So Permissioned DEX controls the order book markets. Traders place offers and other traders consume those those offers. Permissioned AMM controls pool-based liquidity participation. So who can invest or who can inject capital into side A or side B of this pool? Okay, who can actually have the rights to the LP token? And the reason why we need this is because there is no mechanism right now that says you can't participate in my AMM pool. Also, there is a global identifying, like a ledger index, that you can find you can find all the AMMs, but you have to know what the ledger index is. You got to scrape them. You can go to like XRP scan and stuff like that, but that still doesn't really give us a full unified ledger native solution. That's something that a third-party provider has to maintain, which is the API to go and see all of the different AMMs on the XRP Ledger. And that's something that the third-party provider has to maintain, which I believe also on top of the permission AMM, we need to start bringing these type of APIs native to our blockchain as well. Like, I should be able to query specific data about the blockchain directly from the blockchain. That's just how I look at this. We should be able to aggregate that information. This should be open source, APIs and things of that nature where we can contribute to the maintenance of it over time, where not just one single third party has control over the metrics, and we should standardize these types of data sets and lists so that it can be easier to interact with the XRP Ledger. So going back into Permissioned AMM, why this is different, because now if a user does an AMM deposit based off the particular asset that they are trying to deposit, they may run into an issue where they don't have the authority to trade the particular asset, which already the AMM deposit fails when someone is not on a token list, like an MPT token list. If your address or your account is not on that list, that means you can't do certain things with that particular asset. So we do have certain features right now that kind of give us what we're looking for, but they're not fine-tuned all the way for different conditions and different controllable conditions. Like we may want people to have access to the AMM, but only be liquidity providers and provide on this one side. And at the AMM level, we want to be able to set those flags on this AMM that allows for people to only be participants on B side of the liquidity pool or A side of the liquidity pool, or even have rights to arbitrage opportunities or the fees occurred from that liquidity pool, or have rights to the actual liquidity pool token. And this is where Permissioned DEX comes into play and gives those controls. Not only do you have the safeguards and safe rails, this is another set of compliance rules at a native. If we get this, voted on to the ledger, this will be at a native level where we have, okay, you have permission domains, you have permission DEX, you have permission AMM, you have MPT token listing. These lists, all of these different parts they have their own purpose, and us being able to add another set of toolage that can give us, or let us abide by certain safeguards, safe rails, or let us abide in certain jurisdictions. That's not the term that I'm looking for right now, but these. Another one at the AMM level allows us to do a bunch of different things. So let's go into Permissioned AMM. What's the market engine of the Permissioned AMM? Which is the reserve pool. What is it controlled by? The AMM deposit, the AMM vote, the AMM bid. What's the liquidity source? This is the reserves provided by liquidity providers, which is why we want to have this permission AMM, because anyone can be a liquidity provider to an asset that doesn't have an MPT token list like RLUSD. If we get a hold of any automated market making liquidity pool, we can inject capital into that market, and that capital injection could be potentially be used as financial warfare and certain aspects. And then when it comes to an institutional level, you don't want these pools are used to balance certain things and is used to actually find price discovery and control markets. So you don't want capital injection available to anyone publicly to be able to put money into your market unless you verify them and give them that credential to be able to do so. No credential, no liquidity injection. No credential, no LP rights. No credential, no opportunity to get arbitrage. And this is why we use the core principles of the XRP Ledger, and we didn't want to create something new. The permission domain served as a great purpose to extend this out, not only to, not only the permission domains, but to permission AMMs as well. And a credential is a very lightweight solution to assist this. So you see the architecture right here: credential issuer, qualified account, permission domain, permission AMM, and for our specific purpose, the reason why we need this is for tokenized real estate. I didn't think about any other asset. I thought about tokenized real estate. And you need this for, you know, to, so you need this to discover price and control price in the real estate markets. And these are things that you can do with liquidity pool balancing um, and treasury allocation. So that was my purpose of creating this proposal. So the permission AMM references permission domain through domain ID. The permission domain defines accepted credential issuers and credential types. When an account submits permission AMM action, the ledger checks whether the account has access to that domain or not. And here are the proposed AMM fields. So nothing literally changes. What we added was AMM policy flags, deposit, asset one, which is already, if you look at AMM pools, we already have asset plus asset two. That's how you figure out what pairs are in the liquidity pool or AMM. And then we have both asset policies control deposits on both asset sides. So you can deposit on side A or you can deposit on side B of a liquidity pool, but you also can deposit on both sides of a liquidity pool. And we need a policy and we need some type of ledger native function that stops or controls the entry or the capital injection on both sides, A and B, and basically a unified one, A and B at the same time. So now you got the vote policy, which controls the AMM vote. And then you got the bid policy, which controls the AMM bid. See the new policy values and the flags right here. 0, open, no additional AMM permission check. So this means that none of the existing, if the existing AMMs don't have to change. Any new future AMMs don't have to even add this if they don't want to. You don't have to add this, but it's an optional flag or value at the point of the AMM creation, at the point of where you're creating your liquidity pool to not only allow for certain controls, but to even index this transaction in a more secure way. And I'll tell you my part 2 solution, which is basically, at native level API. Really, we need to start bringing what I believe we need to start bringing more data to at a native level. I really believe that. I really believe we need to bring more data to the XRP Ledger. I believe it can handle it, and things of that nature. So transaction behavior. This kind of goes over how you create a liquidity pool on a blockchain on the technical side or the code side. So these are the fields right here that you use to create these things in sequence with other, blocks of code and things of that nature. So nothing is introduced here that's brand new. AMM create is the same. That's how I create it. AMM deposit is the same. AMM withdrawal is the same. AMM vote and bid are the same. Swaps and pathfinding, have the same function and functionality. One thing that we thought about with this is if we do have these controls on these particular automatic, these AMMs, how does pathfinding work with that? Because if the ledger is using an algorithm to route transactions to the least the pair or the route with the least amount of friction, what if our AMMs are a part of that algorithm and we have flags set to where basically no one can penetrate this AMM pool for liquidity, for even pathfinding? So that's a question I have to people. If you're watching this, maybe you all can help me figure that out. I haven't thought about it really at all. I'm pretty sure it's something I don't have to think about. But there is something that I want to know. So here goes an example right here of a real estate token and an RLUSDO pool. Um, and if you see my GitHub, you all can go to GitHub and review this. But it also gives a credential flow on how this would work if we issue credentials and whatnot like that. And then also pathways considered. Use permission DEX only, use token authorization only, use application level controls only, embed wallets, allow list, and AMM entries. So there is some things that we have to think about. We have to think about ledger bloat, really figuring out the different how intense will something like this be on the ledger if this is voted in on a native protocol level. So lots of work to do, but I think this is very, very solid. You all let me know what you think. If this is something that you think we need, I definitely believe there's value in this. Spent a couple of hours building this last night. I worked on this since 12 o'clock. So I put in about a 10-hour shift working on this last night, and I felt comfortable enough releasing this version 1 of this proposal or this idea. So it's just fixing crypto, y'all. I'm gonna do a part 2 of this thing, and I'm the founder of Accountable, so I'm building real estate tokenization solutions. We're building products for the derivatives markets, and we're building things that support the ledger like this. So you all can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Jabril Muhammad. The links will be in the description. We are and have just purchased our first headless validator. So we will be becoming a validator on the XRP Ledger. We're going to be paying 100% for that out of our pockets. We don't get paid to do any of the stuff that we do. We just do it out of pure love for the game and being a supportive person on the blockchain. We really believe in this technology. We know that blockchain is the future, and there is no other pathway forward for us as people outside of digitizing our money. I truly believe this. And also on the economic part of inclusion. For people that look like myself, we have no other choice but to use these newer technologies. And these newer technologies are the things that set us free. Blockchain is going to be blockchain is the thing that we have been missing forever. It's literally the back end of banking technology that we have at our fingertips. And now we have the people like myself building on a blockchain that can issue assets. I can create my own dollar. I can create a version of tokenized gold. I can create a version of tokenized silver, synthetic stocks. I can create my own financial products. And all it is linking up the businesses to the back end of the business to the blockchain. You got to make sure that everything is legitimate. You got to make sure that you have licenses. This is not a small game. One of the licenses that we are looking at, it costs $2 million to get the license. So it's not a little money game involved in this. And that's just one of the licenses. And that license is only to be able to say, hey, you can invest. We can actually say you can invest. That's literally what the license is for. It's literally a $2 million license to say, hey, you all can invest in us. And that's just one of the licenses that we have to get. So, this is a very important, very, very serious matter. And the reason why we are focusing specifically on tokenized assets, especially in real estate, is because of the other financial products that can be created from other solutions and protocols. Derivatives is going to be not the biggest market for tokenized assets that we'll ever see. We won't. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, we can't even fathom the stuff that's going to happen. And I'm going to keep pushing this example out. So with our platform, you can take your tokenized real estate assets that are gaining interest already, and then you can take that asset to another protocol, and that's paying a guaranteed rate for the day, which you turn that tokenized asset into a derivative. So if I'm gaining 4%, I can take my tokenized asset into another jurisdiction, another market that is paying me a guaranteed percentage in yield for that day for my deposit, and I can compound the interest for that tokenized real estate in my deposit. So say, for instance, this protocol is offering 4.5% yield and interest, and it's offering this on a 24-hour daily payout. So if I deposit $25,000 into this protocol, that same day I earn 4.5% on, it's not an APY, I earn 4.5% on that $25,000 in that day. And I can withdraw that money anytime I want to. I can also keep the money in the protocol, so the money that I made from the interest can grow again, depending based off the rate that the bank is offering us for that day. There's no products, bro. There's no products in the world like this stuff, bro. This is so crazy. This is so crazy. It's so crazy that people don't even understand what I'm saying, and it's crazy that I understand this. So we're talking about trillions and quadrillions of dollars in markets. Just alone, the global real estate market is about $379 trillion alone. The derivatives market is over $1.2 quadrillion in value alone. Huge markets, and they're only going to expand and get even bigger with tokenization. Tokenization is going to turn every financial market into the Hulk on steroids. And this is why we're in this industry, tackling the hardest issues and building products that are just simply not here, man. So it's the founder of Accountable, Jabril Muhammad. I'm out of here, y'all. I'm so excited to be the leader in the forefront for my community, for myself and my people, man, in this space. And man, it's a very exciting time. Y'all have a good one now. Peace.